Hey, this is Blaine with SFBTraders.com, and I'm looking at stocks on watch for Tuesday, June the 25th. Got a couple bounce plays and then a couple breakout watches later on. NOAH is a bounce play watch. Huge pullback the past 3 days from 1150 all the way towards 750. Looking at this trend line though, back from January, it's going to be testing this thing right in the morning. We'll see if we can hold that. If it holds that trend line and back through 8, then I'm looking to play a bounce play back towards 9 or so. DANG, another one that's been down heavily the past 4 trading days, really all the way down to 6 from 8. If it can hold that 6 spot in the morning, then I would expect at least to get a little bit of a bounce out of it, with that risk being if 6 fails, then it'll go lower towards 550 or lower. So play accordingly, and we'll see if we can't get a bounce play out of it or a short, another short play if that 6 cracks. AGN, also big sell off the past 3 days, down to from 100 to all the way to 82. If we can get a reversal around this 82 mark, maybe even a gap down, and then hopefully set up for a bounce play out of it. Just one worth watching. Not guaranteed I'm not even going to try to play this thing, but um, just just the overall downside action has got to think that some buying pressure is going to come in at least a little bit so we can get a upside play out of it. And VNDA, after the awesome run it had back in May into the middle of June there, look at this. I mean, it's just all red candles straight down. So now if we can kind of get another gap down maybe and a push towards 7, which was this area, consolidated around in this area before it finally broke out and ran to the upside. So there'll be a little bit of support here. If we can get a bounce off this level or even just right there around 7, I'd be looking to take this to the upside again, back towards 8. We'll have to see what it gives us. These are just right now. These look like gambling charts to me, so I got to actually wait for a setup to come in, but it's definitely worth watching. BWEN, huge support level on 4. It's been there for a couple months now, and it actually popped off of that today on more than average volume. So if we can actually get through that 470 mark, which was the high, and come out of this downtrend, then I expect this thing to rally quite nicely. Otherwise, if 4 eventually fails, then it might be a good short to the downside back towards 3. So again, we'll just play accordingly and play what the chart gives us. ISIS, couple good trades on this by several in the trading room today. I didn't trade it so hot, but included it in my watch list video or my members video tonight so they could learn from my mistakes and also the setups that made some other members a nice chunk of change off of it. Um, Basically, huge gap up from Friday's close all the way to 22 to 25, and then runs pretty much all day at the 28. Now I'm looking to see if we can get a gap up towards 29 or higher, and then possibly ready to short it to the downside as it sets up a top pattern. REV, light volume, but I like this for continuation over 22. Just got to watch your size, play a bit smaller than normally, and if it can continue and get some more momentum, then it might even push another buck or two higher. Halo, another decent runner or a former runner that's popped up nicely today. I think a couple in the trading room played this profitably. So looking to see if we can't get a follow through over today's high, which was what 688 there. If we can get through that, then we should be good to go higher. Pretty much right on that range. So needs to bust through that 688, at least get through this 7, at least get to 7. But 7 is going to be key. If you look all the way back for the past 6 months, that 7 level has been huge every time. And once it finally goes, it breaks out and runs quite nicely. As you can see, it did back in January from 7 to 860-ish. And again here in May, it popped up quite nicely. You got a buck there. So if it can actually get through 7, maybe even gap up again through that 7 mark, who knows? It might be ready for another big upside day again. It's worth noting to keep your eye on it for sure. RVLT, this thing struggles at 4 every time. Topped out there, kind of topped out there, just couldn't hold that 4, couldn't hold that 4 there. Finally broke out earlier this month. We banked off of it this day, and then It just couldn't hold though. It bounced all the way back down and failed, and then once it failed, the stops kicked in, and some people sold, profit takers from back here, whatever, day traders that are shorting, whatever. But today it perked up again and tested 4 mark right there. Closed. I think the high was actually like 399. Yep, 399 was the high there. And if we can actually break through 4 again, this might be ready to push back towards that 440s. And we'll see if we can't get another move out of it to the upside. And then we have HMPR, which if you look back for this is the past year, but if you look back at the 6-month chart from the middle of January all the way through now, this thing has been a nice triangle that if it can actually break through those highs from January and hold up, this thing might be ready to break out and run hard. I mean, look, the days that it does get volume back in February pops nicely. Um, so if it does get volume and breaks out through this triangle, I think this goes uh, higher for us. So be ready to day trade this thing if you're in the room, and keep your eye on HMPR. And finally, MILL. If it can break through that 440 and hold, looks like this probably pushes higher to the upside, maybe towards 460, 480 range. It just doesn't get a whole lot of upside in one day, like 30 cents here. It had a 40-cent move there, but that's all you get, 30 or 40 cents out of it when it actually goes. So don't expect it to run like $1 or anything crazy, but if that volume keeps get these good volume bar days, and then you could trade this profitably. Just a quick update on BIZM here. After that, after we broke 3 last week and then pushed all the way towards 440, um, it tanked off from 440 all the way back down to 280 and then traded sideways on Friday and partially today before breaking out off the bottom here and pushed higher back towards 350. So watch that 350 area. If it can actually get above that 350, it might start creeping back up again. There will be some resistance towards 390 and 4, but so this could be a decent target, 350 to 390, or if that 320 fails, then bail on it, or maybe even that support area, that to keep your stop a little bit tighter there. If that support fails, then it'd be 338. So if that support at 338 fails, then bail. But if this thing starts creeping up again, it might speed up back towards that 390. So keep your eye on BIZM just because they advertised in the New York Times today, I believe. So there's some crazy money back in this thing. So who knows what it's going to do from here. It's definitely worth watching. Should be a fun one still. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I'll see you in the trading room.